Good afternoon, everyone. We've seen good squads, we have seen some competitive squads, but after a long time, I generally feel we are looking at a deserving squad, if not the most deserving, that has been named for the upcoming T20 World Cup in the next 6 to 7 weeks, and also for the New Zealand series before that. We are coming off a thumping series win against South Africa, and India is signing off 2025 on a real high. I would say 95 out of 100 people, if not all 100, would agree that this squad selection came as a very pleasant surprise. There are bold calls, there are eyebrow raising omissions, but there's also sense of clarity that we haven't seen in a while, right? So let's get into it. Let's start with the batting order. Before getting into my views and questions, let me put the names out there. India have Abhishek Sharma, Sanju Samson, Ishan Kishan, Tilak Verma, all of whom can realistically bat in the top three. Now, the biggest talking point here is Shubman Gill is missing out despite being the vice captain of the team. He was dropped from the last game against South Africa. Sanju Samson was brought in. And Sanju made a very good use of the opportunity, striking at over 160. But still, no one expected Gill to be sitting out and Nishan Kishan to be walking straight back in. Then there's been Yashasvi Jaiswal, right? A very deserving T20I batter with an average of around 36 and a strike rate of 165, who has once again been omitted, continuing a trend we have seen since 2024. Coming to the middle order, there's a long list of names, right? Dubey, Hardik Pandya, Rinku Singh, Haksar Patel, and the man in focus, Surya Kumar Yadav. Surya hasn't really been in form ever since he took over captaincy, right? He has said he'll come back strong, but as always, only time will tell. Another key omission here is Jitesh Sharma. After being a mainstay for quite some time, he misses out this time. We've gone back to Rinku for the finishing role, but how much is he really actually required given the stocks of Dubey, Hardik, and Aksar? Will he even make it into the 11? Did India have a chance to pick an extra bowler instead, considering the depth in the squad and in the playing 11?
Three names: Tilak Verma, Abhishek Sharma, and Sanju Samson. These three names are enough for the opponents to piss their pants. See, these three have done a phenomenal job at the top of the order, and we also saw that in latest T20I as well. When Sanju came back to the top of the order, I think things flourished for India. And in the last 1 year, from 2024, I think these three have had really good run. About Ishan Kishan, I'm really happy about the efforts that he has put. Once he neglected domestic cricket, and now he came back strong. He's the leading run scorer of the SMA T20 tournament, led his team to the title. That's a really good turnaround for a guy like Ishan Kishan, who's a very dangerous pinch hitter and also a good option in wicket keeping. So I think he's coming in as a backup wicket keeper and also gives a lot of strength at the top. So the bench is really strong with him being there. And cheers to the selectors as well for dropping Shubman Gill. It was a really bold call. I think they tried to make him the poster boy, but now their poster boy is dropped. Very proud of the selectors now, so, to be very honest. And talking about the middle order, I think Aksar, Dubey, and Hardik, they pick themselves, and we know how Aksar can be really good at the middle order. Whenever we hear the name Aksar Patel, I only remember the T20 World Cup final in 2024, the way he batted and rescued India from the early slump. So, and we have Dubey and Hardik to do the finishing touches. And Hardik, that was a blistering knock in the last T20I that he played, 16 ball 50, and really he has announced that yeah, he's back. It's a really refreshing scene.
We are all in kind of furious agreement that the team chosen is a good one. India has an embarrassment of riches when it comes to white ball, especially T20. India can actually field two squads, and probably both of them would reach the final of the World Cup, given current form, etc. There is no real standout omission or selection which we can debate. It's probably, as you pointed out, 95 out of 100 people will say it's a good squad. You can always debate a couple of things here or there. But for me, the big talking point, as you rightly pointed out, is that they have accepted their mistake, that the experiment with Shubman Gill as vice captain and opener and as the poster boy of Indian cricket has not really worked. So they have sort of conceded that, accepted their mistake, and gone back to something which was always going to work. So that's a good thing. One slight issue which we can debate about is why Aksar Patel as the vice captain. This means that Aksar Patel is going to be in the 11 come what may. And it might happen that if they don't play those four spinners in any of the venues, then it might be a slight issue. Again, we are really nitpicking here, but I would have preferred Bumrah to be the vice captain because he walks into the team, even if we are playing just the one fast bowler. So apart from that, it's everybody probably selects themselves. Now it comes down to performing because the World Cup is in our own backyard. The pressure would be that much higher. There is really no success matrix for India except winning the whole thing, and they have to play a couple of games in Colombo. I think at least the one with Pakistan is in Colombo. So that is a slight variation, but broadly, I'm happy with the selection. And I feel now it comes down to how we really perform. And are we sort of clever enough to select an 11, not a 15, which covers all bases?
I mean, kudos to the selection. I mean, you got to give credit where it's due. Ishan Kishan coming back on the back of smart performance is commendable because that tells us that domestic cricket in whichever format it gets noticed and therefore there is merit in performing there. I'm still not sure about Rinku Singh as to why he was needed. Perhaps a backup for Dubey. I mean, Rinku Singh has done well in the opportunities that he has gotten in the past. But if you look at his recent form, whether it's IPL last year or whether it's the Smart Trophy that just happened, I don't think he's really played well. So the question is, on what basis do you bring him in? Perhaps, they see him as a late order finisher, and in these conditions, he's probably a better bet than many others. But otherwise, I'm pretty happy, right? If you think of the horses for courses in this, subcontinental wickets, if you think of having plenty of options to work with as a captain, as a coach, I think this squad offers plenty, right? You could play with two fast bowlers and three spinners. You could play with one fast bowler and four spinners. It all depends on what the wickets are and how this, tournament turns out to be and who you play, right, as an opposition. So I'm pretty happy. I think it's a good squad.
Coming to the all-rounders, it almost feels like a certainty now that Akshar Patel will start as told by Jagdeep Uncle, especially given his vice-captaincy tag. Earlier in one of the discussions, Jagdeep Uncle actually took a cheeky pun at the Indian vice-captaincy, calling it the consolation prize. And honestly, it does feel like it's being passed around from one player to another, just like musical chairs. Akshar Patel plays a crucial role here, not just with bat and ball, but in determining the overall balance of the side, right? Especially the spin-pace combination. So the big question is whether India can play two specialist leg spinners, Chakravarti and Kuldeep, in the 11, given that one spot is already reserved for Akshar. Or will India look at Washington Sundar and add more batting depth and still fill a bowling slot? What do you think India should do and will do here?
There's no doubt that Washington Sundar is a good bowler in ODIs and tests and also a handy batter in the two formats. But when it comes to T20s, I think you need bowlers like Varun Chakravarti and Kuldeep Yadav because they can put the pressure in the middle overs and make opposition wanting for runs. So that is a key factor that both of them bring in. So and we also have Akshar Patel who can go through the overs a little quicker and provide middle order hitting, like I already said. Once, if you remember, there was a post from Varun Chakravarti saying that he needed a better PR agency. But now his performance as his PR, his performance has now enabled the selectors to pick him and have him in the side permanently at the expense of other non-performers.
So if you think of Akshar, I mean, it's a pretty logical one, right? Akshar was the vice captain during the England T20 series. I mean, it's pretty clear, right? They were trying to fit Shubman Gill into the T20 squad, which obviously didn't work. So like I said, right, I mean, they made a very quick decision where once they realized it's not working, that they had to look past him, which I think is the right decision, right? I think Shubman Gill probably would be more valuable for Indian cricket in Test and ODI than T20. So getting Akshar back, once he sort of is fit, he's back, vice captaincy should naturally go back to him, right? So I think it makes sense. And Akshar, if you look at the last 10 innings, he's been highly valuable for us, both with the bat and the ball. I mean, he's played some crucial innings. He's come and steadied the ship when asked to do. He's come and sort of played late order cameos. His bowling has been pretty tight. I mean, I was just looking at some of his stats, right? He's played about 80 odd T20 internationals and he averages 21 with the ball and his economy rate is about 7 and he takes a wicket a match, right? Roughly. That's a pretty good. I mean, any all-rounder of that sort of capability would fit into any squad anywhere in the world. So I think it naturally makes sense for him to be the vice captain, given that he was the vice captain for England series. And given his form and what he's been doing over the last 10 matches, I think he deserves a place. So I'm actually very happy that Akshar is back. I think he'll be a good contributor for the squad. So it's a good outcome.
On the question of all rounders, the 11 which India selected in the final T20I against South Africa is pretty instructive, right? I think they are looking at Washington Sundar as a power play option, bowling wise. And that would mean that he is probably your number eight. Bumrah and Varun are probably the only two certainties, as I said, in the bowling attack. Hardik Pandya being the other. So the top eight is pretty settled. The point I made about Akshar being made the vice captain was because if there is an option of playing both the leggies, being Varun and Kuldeep, then there could have been an option of asking Akshar to maybe sit out. But it now becomes difficult with him being the vice captain. And I have nothing against him. As Sudhi pointed out, his numbers are excellent. But that removes that flexibility of not playing Akshar and having the two leggies as strike weapons, especially against non-Asian sides, where if you really want to play him against a side like England, perhaps, who don't play leg spin very well, then we lose out on a bit of balance because Akshar has to play. Then we can't have Washington Sundar as your power play option. It becomes a little bit challenging. India can actually fit all four of them as they showed in the Asia Cup, but then you lose out on a bit of overall balance. But we are actually nitpicking. There is very little scope of looking at a chink in the armor. I think overall we are very well settled, even for our all round options.
I was just thinking, right? How much of this squad change was preempted because of Pandya, the batter, rediscovering his form? I mean, he's been in scintillating batting form. And I have a feeling that because of his form, they want to play Pandya at five and ahead of Dubey. And Dubey becomes ineffective if he's at six and comes like in the last few overs. I mean, he's a good player, but he's not a good player of fast bowling, like death bowling.
Right.
He's more a good player of spinners. And perhaps that is why they've brought in Rinku Singh, because Rinku Singh can do that role very well. If he's got like 2 overs, 3 overs to come in, death overs, and being able to smack the ball out, maybe Pandya, the batter, is forcing Agarkar and co to rethink their, squad.
You've hit the nail on the head, Sudhi, because the point which we were trying to make about batting till number eight was reinforced if Pandya was not in great form. But he being in great form and he being a certainty in the team makes it very difficult for us to look past him batting in the top four or five. Don't forget, we have too many left-handers now. So to break the continuity of left-handers, Pandya has to bat in, if not number four, then number five. So you are right. His form has dictated the fact that they need somebody like a Rinku Singh who can hit the fast bowlers or the medium pacers and be that finisher if they want to do away with Dubey. Dubey's role is, as you rightly pointed out, a big hitter against spinners in the sort of the middle overs between, say, 8 and 14. As a finisher, when most of the fast bowlers bowl, they'll probably look at a Rinku Singh more than a Dubey, especially now that we have six bowling options pretty much all through in every combination which we play.
And let's also talk about the bowling now, right? Harshit Rana, the so-called Gambhir Kota player, hasn't really given us any reason to complain so far. His performances have been solid, but does he deserve a spot over someone like Mohammad Siraj, who is clearly India's number two pacer, right? And considering India already has fast or medium fast bowling options in all-rounders like Hardik Pandya and Shivam Dube, will India play a second specialist pacer alongside Jasprit Bumrah, someone like Harshdeep Singh or Rashid Rana? Because if India compromises on one of those two, it opens up space to play both the mystery spinners, which on Indian tracks can straight up choke the opposition, right? What's your take on that balance?
Yeah, most probably, I think, as I said, there would be three spinners with Akshar, Kuldeep, and Varun playing. And to go with that, I think the first name on the bowling chart should be Jasprit Bumrah. And apart from him, I would suggest more of a Harshit Rana because he can bat and extend the lower order. So I know Harshdeep Singh. I am a big fan of Harshdeep Singh, and I would really want to see him be there because of his really good T20 record. But considering Gambhir's approach, what I would we can pretty much expect him to go with Harshit Rana in order to extend the batting lineup more than him preferring an out and out fast bowler like Harshdeep Singh. This is how the balance will look like, and we will go in with a three spin and three pace combination with Harshit, Bumrah, and Hardik Pandya being the pacers for you, and the three spinners, like I mentioned. And Dubey will be that wild card option for the Indian team, where he can chip in with 1 or 2 overs and take up a surprise wicket and in turn fool the opposition. So that is how India's bowling plans will revolve. It will pretty much work on Indian conditions.
So I think that the choice would be between Harshit Rana and Washington Sundar at 8, because both of them offer you a batting option which this team management desperately wants. If this is a pitch where you will get a bit of help for the faster medium fast bowlers, you'll probably get Harshit Rana playing. Otherwise, you'll get Washington Sundar. And as I said, they are looking at Washington Sundar as a power play option, and he might play if they decide to play the four fast bowlers. But if it's to be a 3+3 combination, the choice would be between Harshit Rana on pitches which favor the fast bowlers a little bit, or otherwise Washington Sundar. I'd love to have the Indian team start with this mindset, because that means both our leggies get to play. And we do need to make sure that we keep taking wickets. That's the only way we'll slow down any batting order these days, because everybody goes for full blast from ball one in T20 these days. It's not just India who's doing that.
I think again, right, the approach with Siraj has been more to manage his workload, like preserve him for the white ball and red ball cricket format. Given the choices we have, and it's highly unlikely we'll play more than two fast bowlers at any given point in time. Perhaps not even two, right? They might play with one if Hardik Pandya can actually bowl four. So the question is, do you need another player in the squad over and above Harshdeep, who is just pure play bowler, or do you want an option like a Harshit Rana, who's more a bowling all rounder, if you will? So I think they've gone for that sort of an approach, a little more flexibility to give you a little more with the bat. And given Siraj's workload management, I think it's a fair choice, right? Like nothing to complain. I mean, harsh for Siraj, but I think he bowled well in the recent smat. I was just looking up. He played well against Mumbai for Hyderabad. He took 3 wickets. So obviously he's still in decent form, but it is what it is, right? You can only play 15, so you go with the options you think is going to get you the trophy.
I feel Arshdeep Singh should start in the 11, right? Just given the caliber he has in T20 World Cups. If we look at 2022 T20 World Cup, he was the highest wicket taker. 2024, he was the joint highest wicket taker. And he has done pretty well in T20 so far. I think he will be a starter in the 11, for which we might have to make Harshit Rana sit out.
But you don't
Yeah.
know what plans will Gambhir come with, right?
I mean, if you look at the conditions that we are probably going to play in, there's going to be a bit of the air is going to be cooler, right? Still during the tournament, because we're not going to hit summer yet. So there's going to be a bit of juice on the wicket in most of the tracks. It's going to be nippy, most part of North India. So you would value somebody like an Arshdeep Singh for sure. But again, right, on that day, depending on the opposition, depending on the wicket conditions, if India wants to go with two fast bowlers, one being Hardik Pandya and Bumrah, and then go with four spinners, I think it's a fair call as well. So
Yeah.
yes,
I
but
don't think
that's a challenge you're going to have as Arshdeep if you're pitting against
Yeah.
Bumrah and Hardik Pandya.
I don't think Arshdeep will play more than a couple of games. They'll pack the team with four spinners, especially because they've tried Washington Sundar as your upfront power play bowler. That is where Arshdeep gives us a couple of wickets up front. But if they are going to bowl Washington Sundar up front, that gives them an option of saving some of Bumrah's over. And clearly, Bumrah is our best death bowler as well. So I don't see Arshdeep playing many games, if at all. But as Sudhi said, if we do play in some places where it's nipping around and if it's a greenish pitch, then we have that base covered as well. And that sort of brings us back to what we have been broadly agreeing on. I think we've got all bases covered. We just need to now actually perform in that pressure situation, because it's a home World Cup. And I think you pointed out, Nimal, that India's record in home World Cups has not been great. So we hope we correct that anomaly this time and win this one.
Yeah, and just remember, right, this World Cup is 20 teams. So roughly, right, you're going to play 50 to 55 matches. So that's going to take a lot, right? It's a long format, over a few weeks. So you need depth, and who knows, right? If Bumrah is not fit on a given day, Arshdeep could come in. So it's a good option to have. I don't think I'm too worried about Arshdeep forming the bench during this period.
As I told, this is a home World Cup. Apart from 2011, India doesn't really have great memories of home World Cups, and definitely not in recent times. So, yes, there are very capable T20 sides around the world, but honestly, on paper, no team comes close to India, right? This is India's World Cup to lose. So if I had to put you on the spot, where do you think India will finish and what do you think is India's strongest possible 11 going into this tournament?
Anything lesser than a trophy is a disappointment. And with the squad that we have, I just said to you a few days back on WhatsApp chat that this time we are winning it, we are defending it. So as for the 11, pretty much everyone knows what the 11 will be. So Abhishek, Sanju, Tilak at 3. I think Tilak at 3 is pretty much dangerous. I really wish that Gambhir realizes that very soon. Then Surya at 4 should come to form, should take responsibility. Then we have Akshar at 5. I think it's going to be very reliable at that point. Hardik and Dubey to follow, depending on situations. Either Dubey comes first or Hardik comes first. So it depends. Then we have those bowling combinations. We can bring in Harshit or Arshdeep. Then we have Varun, we have Kuldeep and Bumrah to finish off. I think this is a very formidable 11. And as I already said, anything lesser than a trophy is a complete disappointment.
Yeah, I mean, like the aim should be to win the trophy, right? Nothing less with the squad and the conditions that we are playing in. But I have a sneaky feeling there are going to be some teams that are going to be right up there. England is going to be pretty formidable. Australia will always be formidable. Pakistan will have their moments. So definitely India should be getting to the final. And then on that day, whoever plays well will obviously win. From a squad perspective, here is my view, right? I think I go with what Prashant said. Abhishek Sharma, Sanju Samson, your top 2. Tilak Verma as 3, Sky as 4. I'll put a question mark on Sky and I'll come back to that. Hardik Pandya at 5. Rinku Singh at 6. Akshat Patel at 7. Washington Sundar at 8. Kuldeep Yadav at 9. Jasprit Bumrah at 10. And Arshdeep Singh at 11. That's my squad. Now, I put a question mark on Sky because you got 5 T20s against New Zealand. We have to see how Sky plays. If Sky does not play well, there has to be a decision on whether he captains the squad and therefore does he even have a place in the squad. Now, I know the squad is announced, so he probably will be in the squad, but does he even get to play is a big question mark.
That's a big statement, Sudhi. But I think India has made their bed now. They just have to lie in it. And to make it work, I'd ask Surya to bat at 3 for at least those 5 T20Is against New Zealand. It is so important for him to capture his form because we must remember at his best, Surya is probably the best T20 batter in the world. So we want that Surya back. Other than that, I think the squad kind of picks itself. I have a sneaky feeling that they might get Ishan Kishan to play a couple of games because he's in red hot form right up front in place of Sanju. So Ishan Kishan and Abhishek Sharma to open, Sky at 3, and then the rest of the batting order as Prashant and Sudhi have pointed out, with Sundar at 8, so that we get an elongated batting order on turning pitches, and Harshit Rana at 8 on moving pitches. I don't see Arshdeep playing, but I'll be happy for him to play because he's clearly our wicket-taking option in the fast bowling squad. Apart from that, we should win this tournament. Really, all these are menial details. We've got a gun squad. We've got wicket-taking bowlers. We've got destructive, explosive batsmen. And a very balanced one. We are playing at home. Nothing except winning the tournament would be counted as success.
I should make a correction on what I said at Arshdeep or Varun Chakravarti. I missed Varun Chakravarti's names. It's one of those. Will play.
And yeah, overall, this is a bold squad, as told by Jagdeep Uncle, with some brave calls, few tough omissions. But it finally feels like a selection made with intent and direction. The balance looks promising, the depth is there. And now it's about getting the combinations right and peaking at the right time. Let us know what you think about this 11 and the squad in the comments and whether you believe this is finally India's year. That's it from Beyond Boundaries. We'll catch you in the next one. Thank you.
Cucu, cucu, cucu,